And what you're saying here is there's essentially a central core path of stuff that can be very heavily commoditized. But then exceptionalism is going to impact a vast majority of the market. Is that a fair assumption?
I think that could be. That's how I perceive it. We don't really know. The existing projects haven't been reassessed yet, and they haven't gone through the new methodology. But that is the general perception, is that there is going to be a situation where they're broken into the commoditized ones. And a lot of the areas where you're going to see commoditized projects will be newer projects at the forest frontier, because that's where the drivers are most similar.
Stephen, what could you add?
Steve's done a great job of laying out some of these key things here. I think we're kind of dealing in a scenario where the climate issue, as I started alluding to at the beginning of this call, requires a much larger investment than it's getting currently. And there's also a very diverse pool of actors who either have an influence on that climate issue because they are an emitter, or they are also potentially a small, medium-sized business that has very small emissions, but is also one of those pools of market participants that we are seeing buying credits, but just maybe not at the same volume as those big emitters might be buying. And we've also seen some big companies that historically have purchased a lot of credits, like airlines like Delta, that at one point they were the largest buyer, no longer buying credits or diminishing their purchasing of credits. There's also this very kind of wide breadth of buyers out there, from very, very small to very, very large buyers. When you have that, that also means it's really not one size fits all how you define a quality project, but there are efforts for those large emitters, more or less the publicly traded companies. There are efforts underway to establish those rules for what you can buy and how you claim that as part of your climate goal. But for a lot of these other companies, they kind of fall outside of that, whether it's because they don't have the stakeholder pressure or for other reasons, and they might be more open to projects that don't fit within that quality criteria that's being laid out by these big initiatives. And they may still be willing to buy from standards that are less known or up and coming, brand new. They may also be willing to buy from credits and projects that others aren't looking to touch because they're too risky. But we have to kind of see how this plays out. And I think you're absolutely right. This is a maturation of a market. Markets always continue to mature and evolve. The voluntary carbon market is maybe at most, depending on how you look at it, 3 decades old. Very, very young in comparison to the other commodity markets that you referenced. I think we still have a long way to go to continue to develop and evolve this market in the right way.